Continuing from a mountain in Tibet, from page 225. Not that I am claiming to be any kind of miracle worker. Misery is a powerful spell in our minds, which many people find it hard to break free from. It is difficult to stop reinforcing the thoughts that give rise to our misery. I have found that people need a lot of time, a lot of kindness, and a lot of patience if they are to change the habits of a lifetime. I was always very sympathetic to people because I had been just like them. I too needed years to build my faith and resolve, and I could not have done it without the unshakable support of His Holiness the Karmapa and the constant care of my brother Akon. There are few things I love more than welcoming people back, years after the last time I saw them, and listening to their stories of how, in the end, they were able to turn their lives around. One man who took temporary ordination with me had a terrible time wrestling with his drug addiction. I pretty much locked him up on Holy Isle, which was the ideal location to help people with substance abuse issues, because it was just too hard to get off the island to go looking for supplies. He stayed for a while and then left, came back and had another go, but eventually began using drugs again and disappeared for good. I worried about him, but hoped he had gained enough stability to eventually find his way back to sobriety and a life of peace. Some years later he came to Samiling to see me. He had been clean for many years and had married a Nepalese woman, and they were expecting their first child. He looked so well and happy in his life. He very generously thanked me for helping him at a critical time in his life. Being a monk was not for him in the long term, but his time with us gave him the clarity to know that he needed to seek professional help to deal with his addiction. I was so happy for him. He was a changed man from the one I met. I have learned not to be rigid in my thinking about what change looks like or how and when it will pan out. It doesn't matter to me whether someone is a monk, a nun, or a lay person. All that matters is that they are kind to themselves and others, and tame their own mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha in a nutshell. My whole approach has been built on flexibility, because reality is not as solid as it appears. So it helps to approach it with as few fixed ideas as possible. I always say that our mind should be flexible as a willow tree. The trunk is solid and rooted, but the wind can blow the branches in different directions. When our minds are like this, we ourselves are healthy. And we can help anyone we meet, because we do not insist on the correctness of any single philosophy or piece of advice. My attempts to help people have always been grounded in trying to identify what it is they need, rather than imposing my ideas on them. We were coming to the end of the second phase of building work at Samiling. To add an accommodation wing for visiting dignitaries, as well as resident monks, and downstairs a large refectory capable of accommodating the many hundreds of people who came to Samiling for our bigger events. I could hardly believe it when I walked into my birthday party and saw that the refectory was full of friends and well-wishers who had come from all over the world. I couldn't stop smiling that day. As I listened to music and speeches and watched a beautiful traditional Dakini dance performed by a group of nuns. His Holiness the 17th Karmapa had honored me by writing a long life prayer, which Akon read out. At the end of his speech, Akon astounded me by announcing that from now on people could address me as Rinpoche if they wanted. It is hard to convey to those unfamiliar with the term, which means precious one, exactly why this moved me so much. I do not care for prestige and am not swayed by titles, but coming from my revered elder brother, this was a lovely gesture. In his speech, Akon stressed that the title could be used for teachers who had gained accomplishment through navigating the hard trials of life, as well as the tulkus who were born into such accomplishment. It was a beautiful birthday present. Continuing from a mountain in Tibet, from page 225.
It's a good way his past experience. He was able to help all these young people who came to Samiling.
Yes.
With him being through it, he knew how to deal with them, you know.
That's right.
And some of them was very successful, which was very good to know. That was very good news. And well, it was quite a lot to take on too, with all these people, loads of them coming to Samiling looking for help, you know.
Yes.
So that was a big challenge for Lama Yeshe, you know.
Yes.
So,
he knew what challenges they faced, and he also recognized that it's the 16th Karmapa and his brother had been the support that made it possible for him to change. And if he could be that kind of a support for those who came to him, they also could change.
That's right.
So he was encouraged by his past examples, and he knew how important that figure is who has confidence in the person that's trying to find a new way. And they really can hold the stability for the person until they have their own stability back, or create their stability for themselves for the first time.
Yes. And it was a big surprise when we went to Samiling to find all these people waiting for him for his birthday party.
Yeah, what a nice surprise.
See, it was kept secret, you see. He didn't know. It kept secret. It was just to surprise him, you know.
Yes, it got well arranged.
It went well arranged. And it's wonderful that Karmapa made that lovely long life prayer for him.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. And we've been reciting it every day.
That's right. Yes.
Yes.
So it was not only there for the occasion, but it's been very useful for everyone to have after that date.
Yes. Yes, so it's good for people who used to for years calling them Lama Yeshe. They've created a strong habit. It's hard to break away from. They call them Rinpoche.
Yes.
you know the habit. Although they mean to call them Rinpoche, but the strong habit comes up and calls them La. You know.
Yes.
I know about these things. Yeah.
And also because he's not insisting that he won't stop and correct someone if they call him Lama Yeshe.
Yeah.
He's not going to be bothered by that on one level, but as you said, it is something that Rinpoche said would be nice to do or could be done. And those people that have known him the longest find it, they have to keep reminding themselves.
It's nice that Rinpoche gave a speech for him.
Yes.
You know, on his birthday, explained the long life prayer and a bit about Karmapa, 17 Karmapa.
He was so proud of him, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Because he had accompanied him the whole way, all the way along, watching his steps in every direction that he went, and holding out that possibility that he would become his assistant, no matter what was happening between when that was articulated and when it was realized.
Yeah, so everything was handed over to him.
That's right.
There was no more than just a nice speech and all that. It's all yours, Lama Yeshe. You know?
Right.
So that was quite good.
Yes.
But it happened, and well, so it's a lot for him to take in, you know. I can understand why it put a big smile on his face, you know. It was a lovely surprise he got, and it goes from there on. He has to get on with it. Yeah.
Would you like to ring the singing bowl then?
Oh yes, a bit.
To mark this special occasion and the end of this chapter?
Yes. Karmapa Channel.